Greetings, family. Welcome to the Grand Rising Collective. My name is Kyle Dixon, co-host, educator, and entrepreneur for 20 years. Grand Rising Collective's here is to cultivate greatness in ourselves and our community.
And my name is Kaide Bentley, co-host, educator, and entrepreneur for over 20 plus years. My contribution to Grand Rising Collective is to help cultivate that greatness in ourselves and the community through impactful discussions, seminars, and webinars with my co-host, Kyle Dixon. So, Toshi, I'm not sure if you know too much of my background. I'm gonna be real brief because I love what you're doing with the young people. So, I run an organization called Teaching Teens to Think, particularly that, and I help them identify their inherent skill set, meaning what they do naturally, right? And then tie that into education. So instead of just going or picking a college because it's a prestigious college, I have them pick a college that caters to what they do naturally, which kind of gives them some leverage in completing school. Because according to the data, facts, and statistics, a lot of inner city youth, if they're able to even go to college or get in college, they don't last past the second year because there's all these other nuances, the environment didn't prepare them anything for that. So that's a little background. So I'm impressed and I'm also inspired and encouraged by the work that you do. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, as I'm also in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. So one of the challenges that I'm facing with inner city youth particularly is this, how can I say, apathetic point of view towards their future. I mean, how many of you have a 5-year plan? That question goes right over their head. Some of them tell me they have a 5-year plan, but it's in their head. So we already know, anything that stays in your head becomes a dream, but once it's written down, it becomes something. So my question to you, Toshi, is what, in terms of, well, let me phrase it this way. What are some of the challenges that young people should prepare for if they're pursuing entrepreneurship? Like the fun of entrepreneurship is I get to work for myself. I get to sleep when I want, wake up when I want. I write my own ticket. I'm just saying, this is when
somebody tell me, where's that at? Because I don't get to sleep when I work on what I want. I think I'll work more as an entrepreneur than not. Some of the challenges, I'm always working. I'm always working. I think for myself, it is a goal. I am trying to leave a legacy behind. And I think if you are an impactful individual, you'll grow to love it. I tell my engineers all the time, it's impact over popularity. I don't need to be popular, but I do need to be impactful. So the challenge for me particularly, I'll say, is a balance. I'm always working, always working. If I'm not technically working, I'm networking, right? I'm networking for opportunities. I've always got my engineers on my mind, and how I can impact them and how I can navigate their journey. I would also say, for me, what I had to learn in my entrepreneurial journey is delegating. I wear so many hats as being the only owner of the institution, the Cisco Networking Academy. I wear so many hats. I must learn to delegate a little bit more. And delegation is key. When you know you're not successful in one area of business, find someone, and again, I try to surround myself with like-minded individuals always. Find someone who can get it done for you. I'm pretty soft, so kicking students out is really a weakness of mine, I'll be honest with you. So I know my girlfriend, she's pretty hardcore. She's definitely a New Yorker. She's good at that. So I'll call her up and say, look, this guy's been out too many days. He's not going to be successful. We intake so much in a 4-hour day, 3 days in one So in 1 week, absence is not going to get it. You're not going to catch up. You may need to re-enroll next semester. So we do have contracts, right? And we go through the contracts, we read the contracts, we sign the contracts, but I'm not a good enforcer. Therefore, I delegate that enforcement to my girlfriend. And she enforces the policy, and she gets those hard things done for me because I want all of us to win. So it's really hard for me to say, no, you can't win right now, maybe next semester you'll win, but it is good business practice to stay true to those contracts because you'll find it impacting the bottom line, which is the success of your class and the movement of your class, because you're going backwards, right, to compensate someone who's made a decision to be absent.
Very good. Sorry, Cal, can I follow up?
No, go ahead. Yeah, no.
So in my organization, I know delegation, I work all the time. Holidays is just another day for me. I gotta, burn out like you would believe. One of the practices that I use, and this is leading up to my second question, is with my team, I emphasize what do you call soft skills, right? So some of the soft skills that I emphasize is showing up, like our adage is showing up on time, you're late. Early is on time is late, and late is never. And one of the things that I do with the threshold that I have in the programs that I do and the workshops that I do is like I would settle for a classroom. If our threshold is 10, I will settle for a classroom of just 5 students as opposed to 10. And 5 students who are serious about learning the material as opposed to 10 and 5 of them laughing, not engaged, not connected. And what I learned is once you set that tone and once you set that precedence, the next cycle, the next come around, that communications get relayed and be like, oh no, don't play around in that class because last cycle I showed up late and they kicked me out. So these are the things that I try and instill in our community and particularly with our youth. My follow-up question to you, Toshi, is what do we lack? What are inner city youth lacking? Why? Right? Because I see, you're in Queens, so there's this school that I just started noticing. I'm noticing for you. It's called Success Academy. It's a charter school, right? Yeah, right. And they're in school year round. It seems like even in the summer.
Yeah, it seems like cool.
So, Toshi, my question to you: from your POV? What do you think is lacking of our youth? Like, because I'm concerned. I'm like, I think they're going to fall for the trap. I don't think they're prepared for entrepreneurship. There's so many distractions out here. Like what would you say, what would your advice be to educators or as well as students, that magic word, or if there is, to get them engaged, get them locked in, to get on that track to success and not get easily distracted? Any words?
It's a good question. That was a good question. Let's say I don't know. I think that support is the key. One of the questions that I ask incoming into my institution is a big question, which is support. I'll ask, what is your support like? If you take this class for 4 months, who's going to support you in that? Or is your household a household that can support that? When you come in, you have to study. When you wake up, you have to study. You can't, and again, I find this to be the average in that community. I have to get a job. I have responsibilities in their household. I have to get a job.
Yeah.
Well, that job that's sustaining you today may not be there tomorrow. So tell me what you want to do. You want to invest in today or tomorrow? And do you have a support system that's going to allow you to invest into tomorrow? Because I'll find so many individuals, they'll come in, oh, my girlfriend is pregnant. I could tell you right then and there, your girlfriend is pregnant, you're not working, you got a 6-month course in front of you. That's not going to survive. You're not going to survive my course, because at the end of the day, he needs that financial job. And I'll ask these really tough questions. And once we get down into the middle of it, they'll say, well, no, they don't know I'm taking this, or, I have to help out here, or I work 12 hours. right? And I get home, and so where's your study time when you're not in school? Then you have your 4 hours when you are in school, and then where's your study time when you're not, after school, right? Before you get there, after you get there. If I'm not hearing the right answers, um, the support system is going to be your best option for you to be successful. If individuals know what you're doing, what you're trying to obtain, what you're going for, the goal in this matter, that support will help you be successful. But without that support, I'm finding that individuals are trying to do it on their own. And I'll back it up with a small story.
Mm-hmm.
There was you may have heard the story. There was a professor in MIT who did a study on Black individuals. I think it was a math course. And he found that at the end of every semester, the Black students were not doing well. They were failing, while Asian students were excelling. So the professor went to the Black students and he said, listen, do you mind if I do a study on you? Because you all got into MIT, so we know you're smart, right? But what I'm not understanding is why so many Black students are failing and the Asian students are not, are excelling. So he did the study on all the students, um, not just the Black students. And what he found was Black students study by themselves. And in Asian students collectively study, they never study by themselves. They always study in groups. And that led me to put that into my institution in regards to studying. There will be no, oh, I studied last night. Who did you study with? If you didn't tell me you studied with someone, you didn't really study because you didn't have anyone challenge you. You didn't have anyone give you their perspective. You were narrow-sighted in your studying. Therefore, your true studying skills weren't put into play. So I do that to make individuals, one, accountable for their study. And don't tell me you study and then you didn't study. Because if dude over there didn't tell me you studied, then you didn't study. So I force them to have accountability in their studying, but I also allow them to, again, know the benefit of collectivism, right? Of gathering with groups and getting collective feedback or different perspectives, because life is not just about your perspective. Life is about a whole bunch of individual perspective put together and called the United Corporation of America, right? So it's the collectiveness that allowed them to be successful. So after the study, the professor enforced exactly what I told you I enforced. He enforced collective studies, group studies. He would group individuals together. He would actually cultivate the actual schedule for them and sit them down what works so they could be committed to that study schedule.
Right.
And the following semester, all Black students excelled and they did not fail. Awesome. So I think that is your support system. It truly, truly, truly is an amazing thing if it's done right and well. And I think that individual can truly thrive if they're supported.
Toshi, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You just gave me an idea. Thank you. Thank you, Cal.
No, and Toshi, thank you for sharing that with us. I have heard of that study, but I didn't hear the latter part of the study as well, that the professor enforced the group studying with the other students, not just the Black students, but other students who was in the class, but the Black students excel. That part I never heard. I heard the first part, but not that last part. So yeah, thank you for informing us on that. And that's very key. And me, Kaidi, and Shelley, we have talked about this a lot. That whole, like you said, collectivism. Again, our platform is Grand Rising Collective because of community. Now, I want to go into this too, because I want to get your feedback on this as well. Because me growing up mainly in the South, here I'm in the East Coast, that whole thing of when we talk about working together, have you seen or have you noticed any patterns as far as when we try to work together, it seems to be a lack of trust from either from our personal relationships with our families, or just an overall kind of feeling of, I don't know if I could trust this, or I don't know if I could trust this person, or is this for real? Is this not for real? Is she for real? Or, so have you noticed any of that hesitancy from like students of like, well, I want to believe, but I'm not sure. And it could be from like not sure of self or just not sure of the environment because it's new. Have you noticed any of that like being a hindrance?
So what I have noticed, and I've actually noticed it a little bit more recently, is individuals are not trusting themselves. So I think when you have an individual who has been warned by life, right? Warned, tired, stepped on, run over, by life. I think in general, the trust factor is low. I live in an environment where I could leave my pocketbook on my car seat with the windows rolled down and go in my house and close the door and sleep. And the next morning, my pocketbook is still sitting there the same way. My mindset on trust is a little bit skewed, to be honest with you. I do feel like individuals don't trust themselves. So it's very hard to trust another when you don't trust yourself, right? You don't trust yourself to have the morality that you should have, right? You don't trust yourself to be committed to something. You don't trust yourself to be successful. I find a lot of that coming through my door. And again, I think the individuals are just worn with life, right? Life has given them such a hard time. I had a gentleman asked me a series of questions after interviewing to come to the school. He had all right to ask me a number of questions. But one question he kept asking me repeatedly, and I kept saying to myself, and I reflected on it so hard, will I be able to get a job if I take this training? And he asked it in so many ways during our interview time. And I asked him, I said, you've asked me that question a number of times, and I'm just a little concerned. Why wouldn't you be able to get a job? If you put 100% of what you want into it, you'll be successful. So if you're questioning if you're going to be able to get a job, then to me, it sounds like you're questioning if you're going to be good at what you're putting forth, if your effort is going to be good enough. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you do, you have to believe that there's going to be some level of success to it, no matter what it is. If you truly in your heart feel like I'm going to go in this and she's got to hand me a job, well, I don't give out jobs. At the end of the day, your skill set, your confidence, your value is going to be seen, and you're going to be a necessary part of someone's organization if that's the route that you're going. I said, but you've got to believe that you're going to get a job. If you don't believe you're going to get a job, then I can't believe that you're going to get a job. So when you ask me about, do they trust that individual? I think a lot of it stems from them not trusting themselves. I go hard, my kids are a little spoiled, but I go hard and I tell them 22 on car, on apartment, on everything. I was out there going hard because I knew from my experience of being a child of an orphan that if you don't go hard, your life will look much different than what you're looking at right now. So there was no factor for me. And I give everyone, all of my students, my background and, my journey so they can, I'm no different than anyone out here on the planet. I am no different. I'm not a superstar. I'm not a rock star. I don't come from money. None of that. I just go hard for what I want. And no one's going to stop me. I walk in buildings like I own it. I would walk past it, they would look at me like, oh, I know she don't, they never saw me before, but you couldn't tell me I didn't own the building. I would walk in there like I owned the building, So if you're not that confident, that's going to transcend to anyone who's receiving you. You have to go hard and you have to go confidently hard. So I that's what my feedback to the trust question.
Great. I resonate with that 100%. I talk to my students all the time about my journey and just certain opportunities that I missed or didn't take full advantages because I really didn't trust myself at that age or at that phase of my life. And then you start to realize that, it's really about belief in self. The trusting outside is really the trusting within. And that's a great and honest answer. And I totally agree with it. It comes down to what are you going to put into it? What are you going to put into it? Especially even with me and Kade starting this platform. It's like, look, we're doing it because we feel the need, we feel the energy and purpose to do it. So we're doing it, and if we put our best into it, we may not get what we thought we are going to get, but we're going to get something that's definitely going to be hugely beneficial.
And you're going to learn from it.
Yes.
That's the end of the day.
Yes, indeed.
Not to interject and cut your wisdom,
yeah.
Kyle, but Toshi, I'm glad you mentioned that because I mean, there's so many nuances to this, especially us coming from the inner city. And I say that because I notice among inner city youth in particular, it can go either way. It's either a fear of success or a fear of failure, right? And then there's the trauma. Cal and I talk about this all the time in regards to the psychological trauma we experience from our environment, right? Not only are we getting, like you said, part of the reason that contributes to that distrust is because they don't trust themselves. Is because, like you said, the lack of a support system or the people who are supposed to be their support system are the very ones that are discouraging them. So if you come to a home environment where you're getting discouraging comments about you because they themselves are projecting their insecurities on you as a young person coming in, and then you go into the world and you're getting that biasness or that judgment or that inferiority and then you look on TV and you listen to the music, these young people are bombarded 24/7 on things that are negative, right? Very rare, very few positive images are set to these young people. So I definitely thank you, Toshi, for that. And you gave me a support system into what advice would you give to a young person? Right? Because like you said, I'm the same way too. I don't like turning anyone away. And it pains my heart when I have to. It's like, but I also realize you can't save everybody. But if you could save one person, you've done great because that one person can be the voice that reaches to those others. So I guess my question to you, Toshi, is what advice, again, this is like a part B to the initial question that I asked before, because I'm really trying to understand and listen to professionals who are in the field, similar fields like mine, so I can take this information and relay it to these young people to try and save as many as I can. Question, what advice would you give to a young person who doesn't have that support system at home, right? They don't have the family, they don't have the mother, father, or caregiver that can support them and encourage them in that career because they want to succeed, they want to be successful, they don't want to struggle, but their surroundings don't encourage that. What do you tell a young person who's just no one around them, has that form, or the person that does, they see like once a year? Like it could be an uncle or aunt or somebody that they see once a year that comes into town and gives them that, and then they're gone and they can't reach out to them. Help me.
Looking for help.
I'll share a story with you right before I answer your question. So
Sure.
there's a young lady. She came to me. I guess say like February or so. And she says, Toshi, I know I heard you do tech, I think I want to get into tech. I'm not sure. So I had a small conversation with her and she came back the next day and said, Toshi, I think I'm not ready for your course. I think I'm just not ready. I'm going to take a Google IT professional certificate course online. I said, sure, no problem. If you have any difficulties, let me know and reach out to me and I'll try to help you with your schools. Not in my school, not in my institution. But again, I offered her, if you need any help, let me know. She came back about a month ago. I said, Toshi, I'm almost done with my Google certificate, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't feel like I know what I'm doing at all. You know, and again, the presence of an individual and having, not understanding your learning style, right? Will keep you at bay from what you really want, because first you're doing an online course, and an online course is great for individuals who don't have the time or flexibility to be in person. However, if you don't know your learning style, and your learning style is uh, you know, kinesthetic, and you need to tangibly, physically touch in things, and physically, touch tangible items, then, you are going to be stuck in a gray area. So she came back and I said, well, look, come in, let's test what you've learned from Google IT support. And I don't know what that certificate offers, but I Googled it or put it in AI or whatever. And I got some feedback on what they're supposed to cover and et cetera. And so I started testing her, and it was not that great, initially. So we've been testing 3-4 days in, and I said, well, let me show you what a day in the life of a network engineer does, right? I just wanted to give her an image. So she was really happy for it. At the end of the day, we continued on with testing her skill set, and she started getting better and more comfortable in her responses to me. And she goes, Toshi, when is your next class? And I said, well, it's going to be in 2 weeks. So the semester is opening, and that's why I'm here. I'm recruiting, et cetera. And she goes, Toshi, you make me feel like I can do this.
It is.
And I said, I appreciate that. I said, but you should know you can do. She goes, no. And I started talking to her a little bit more. We started talking about her background, what her surrounding and support. I never really asked her those questions because she's not in my class, right? So I never really felt the need to ask her. I was just helping her as a resource. And she said, my mom wants me to do this, and then I have to do this, and then I have to take care of my siblings. And so her support system wasn't there. So I said, listen, I'm not the type of individual who I do well already. I'm not doing this school to do well. I'm doing this school so I can have impact, okay? I said, if you ever need me and you ever need some support, I'm here. She goes, thank you, Toshi. Thank you so much. Do you mind if I call you from time to time? So to answer your question, what do you do with individuals who don't have a support system like that? And I can only say this plainly as I'm going to say this. You're talking to someone who doesn't have a family, right? I come from a child of an orphan, right? So not having cousins and not having grand aunts and grand uncles and grandparents, et cetera, that's the world I came from. However, I have a family today because I created my family, right? I created my support system. I brought the individuals in who I needed in my surroundings that were going to help me, not only with technology, but also, with life, giving me those, as you mentioned, the uncle that comes in and, gives you those words of kindness, and then leave, you can't contact them back again.
Right.
I work in, I have a shared space, and I work with a dojo. And one of the things that attracted me to this dojo was, it's called SWAM. It's called Smart, Wise, Alike Minds. Okay. And that's what I feel like really attracted me very much so to this dojo. You have to surround yourself with alike individuals or like minds. And if you are honest and truthful and trusting, people will be attracted to you, and they won't want to leave. And I think that is what I offer, and that's what I try to tell my engineers and my technicians as well. Be as trusting and open as resourceful as possible, and people will always want to be attracted to you. You will attract high frequency individuals. And there's nothing more that you can do except be the best in you, and you will attract. You honestly will attract what you need in your life, if that answers your question.
Thank you so much. One final, Cal, interject one final.
No,
I had a conversation with some young men yesterday in my partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. And we were talking about leadership, right? Leadership qualities, leadership characteristics. And what you said, part of it resonated with that as far as being true to who you are.
Yes.
Having the confidence to be honest and stand in your square. And when you do that and you're honest with yourself, you will attract those people, right? Don't be afraid of people who don't accept you. I think part of our problem as well, in some aspects, is wanting to be accepted at the compromising of our integrity, our character, and our morality. Once we realize, like you said, once you find your learning style, but once you find out who you are and you can stand on that and you take confidence in that, I think life would be a lot better. I think your decisions that you will make would be more successful, and overall you'll be happy because you know who you are. No one can change who you are. So Toshi, yes, you did answer my question. Thank you so much. And the leadership personalities I gave to the young man, and he said, and he did a self-reflection. He said, yeah, Mr. K, I can do better in that area. And I was like, you're on the right track. I'm proud of you because you can at least have that self-reflection to realize the areas that you need to improve in. And I think that's a good start. Thank you, Toshi. Sorry, Cal. Go ahead, brother.
No.
That's it. Toshi probably got to run some other organization, so I don't want to take up your time. You know, I can talk. Well, I can talk.
Right. Well, we can both talk on this platform. Oh my gosh, no, you dropping gems, Toshi. No, thank you. So I want to ask this question because this kind of pertains to me personally, but I've also heard this along the years, definitely dealing with tech and definitely dealing with business. What are some of the skills when we talk about, like, in relation to schooling subjects, because I want to relate it to that, because that's like a thing that people can maybe associate with better. What are some of the skills or like subject areas that a person tends to be successful in, not only just entrepreneurship, but possibly tech if they're interested? Because when I was coming up, I was into video games and other things, but because I wasn't so good in math, science I liked, but I didn't do so well. I had to really, really study, and I did well. But math was kind of a little interesting for me as I got up in the grade levels, algebra 2, you know, I didn't even get to calculus. I'm not going to touch that. But like those people who feel like they're not adept, like equipped, they're not really good at those like sciences and maths, do they still have a space within the tech industry? And if so, like how would they approach that?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I get that question a lot from individuals who walk into the door. I'm not good at math. Do I have to do math in this class? And I'm gonna be honest with you, that was one of the first things I asked when I 25 years ago when I took my certification exam at Queens College for this field. That was the first thing I did. Is there any math? Because I was horrible at math. You know, I'm being honest with you too. I was like, listen, I don't know. As long as there's no math involved, we're good to go. Yeah. So yeah, I talked to them about computer math, right? So no calculus, no algebra, things of that nature. You know, just pretty much subnet and computer math, and I make it so easy for them to understand. But some of the skills, I'm going to say for me, one of the biggest skills is learning, just learning in general. Do you like to learn? And how do you learn? Some individuals don't know that there are different learning styles, right? So this is the conversation that I kind of go into as well. My daughter was kinesthetic, and so teaching her, or the school trying to teach her fractions was a hard task, because when she can't touch fractions, you know. So my whole house turned into a fraction, from the doorways to the table, to the floors, everything turned into a fraction. Because of her learning style, she physically had to understand what a fraction is. Now, I could have cut up an apple and made it an eighth, but that's a small area of fractions, right? So for individuals, they have to want to learn. I don't know if there's any particular one skill set that allows individual to say, I want to learn or I love learning. But if you don't like to be educated and you want to stand on whatever you know currently, then it's going to be hard for someone else to kind of educate you. Um, you have to want it. I don't know again if there's one particular skill set other than you wanting it. I think everyone can learn. I do have an individual who I think he did mention to me, it's interesting because he did mention to me, he said, Toshi, I don't even know how I got out of high school, to be honest with you. I think I charmed my way out of high school. And I said, and he says to me, he goes, this is kind of my way of finding out if I can learn. He said that to me, and from day one, he was like, I don't know if I can actually learn. Like I said, I think he charmed his way out of high school. Um, this is his words, not mine. And he came in and I found his learning style. And he does have a difficulty of learning and what he does learn, but what he does learn, he learns. Like you can't shake him from it, but it does take him a little extra time in getting it done. But I think to me, it's up to the individual to kind of challenge or check themselves or find out where they are and get an assessment of where they are. Because again, your support system may not know you have challenges, right? They never got it assessed or identified that there are some challenges there. And that's what moves you forward. Once you can identify your challenges, no one is with the right mind and body, right, is not available to be taught, right? But again, not assessing where you are and not assessing the type of learner you are is going to be a challenge in trying to train that individual. So I always take that step in trying to understand where they are, meeting, as he said earlier, meeting them where they are, right? I want to meet you where you are. I do the assessment so I can understand, okay, is this a basic conversation, right? Or is this an intermediate conversation? Or can I take this conversation way advanced? And you never want to put yourself in a space where you're losing your audience. They don't know what you're talking about, right? So you always have to kind of assess where are these individuals, and having a 40 plus classroom size, it's hard to do that without doing an assessment, right? And meeting everyone where they are and not having individuals who are advanced hold their head and wait for you to get to them, right? You have to be able to, in the same context and conversation, target all different learning styles and meeting all individuals where they are, so you can tie them in and they're not feeling like they're not relative. They're just in the space to get to me ultimately. So I'm always having conversations where I'll start at beginner, move to intermediate, and then I bring it to advanced in the same topic, so that again, I'm hitting all audiences. Hope that answers your question. That's all I got for you for that one.
Oh, no, that's enough. Oh, that's thorough. That
Okay.
answers my question like thoroughly. Thank you, Toshi. No, that was
okay.
Yeah, seriously. Kylie, do you have?
No, I'm
okay.
Toshi, thank you so much. I know you're busy. Go ahead, girl.
I want to ask you one last question, Toshi, and it's just a general like fun question. I want to end it like we do like a top 3, top 5. So top 5, since you're in the tech, right? And this is just kind of like, okay, because I'm always like, what are people's things and what do they use? So top 5, since you're in tech, top 5 gadgets or top 3 gadgets that you use on a daily basis dealing with tech. And it could, it's whatever.
I'm probably going to be, I'm not going to answer it. You're probably going to say, what? No, I don't use none. Wow. I work all the time. I literally try to be a complete airhead when I'm not on the job. I don't touch my phone. I use my phone for phone calling.
Wow.
I am so not tech when I'm not tech. I'm very much so into nature, to farming and harvesting and camping and hiking, and I don't do gadgets. I tell my kids all the time, like, can you do this? And they're like, Mom, the level of things that you do, you can't work this simple little. No, I don't do any text. I don't do any gadgets. I'm all about my field. I'm all about my talent, right? My skill. But when I'm outside of doing what I have to do, I go do what I want to do. I'm not saying I don't want to do this, but there are areas of my life that I don't get to do as often. So I'm not a gadget girl. I'm out there getting my fingernails dirty and farming and planting and growing and hiking and fishing and camping. I don't do anything in tech. Yeah. Sorry, I let you down for that one.
No, I didn't expect that at all. I was like,
Me neither.
I didn't
Me
expect that
neither.
not at all.
But
Wow.
that's awesome.
It is.
That's a good balance right
It
there. I
is.
think
Yeah,
like,
I have to.
yeah. Steve Jobs talked about it as well when he got fired from Apple, when Apple first started, when he had that break or what have you. What he did was he went into nature, and that's how they're saying that's how he got that envision and that future of Apple. It's because of nature, returning to the earth, returning to our creator. That's a perfect balance. That's an excellent answer, Toshi. That's a good exercise too. That's why I just so you know, not be too long-winded. This summer, I had to go to the beach. I had to get the negative ions that Kyle be telling me. So, perfect, Toshi. Perfect.
Yeah, no, and some of the things that come to me, in regards to business and technology, and they come to me when I'm in nature. They come to me when I'm in nature. When I think about technology and the future, what type of technologies I would like to see in the future. These are the conversations that I have with my engineers and my technicians, my students. What would you like to see? What could you possibly envision, that you could actually see come true in the next 5-10 years? And you'll be surprised at some of the conversations that are had and turn around in 5 and 10 years, and those things actually come into fruition, not particularly by that individual, but because, again, people who are, I'm one who plays on the spirit realm, so therefore, just the thought that you thought it puts it into a position of being created, right? You may not have created it, but the thought is out there. And once the universe receives that thought, then there you'll find that 5 years later, it came to fruition because it was your thought, right? Or whoever's thought. But yeah, that's how I play on that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Inspirational. Got it.
Definitely inspirational. Wow. No, thank you for sharing your time with us, Toshi.
Yes.
I mean, this has been a wealthy, productive, enlightening, inspiring conversation. Please let people know how they can maybe contact you, or just about your organization, your company, and what you're doing.
Sure. So the school is called NexGen, all one word, NexGen Tech Corps, CORPS, like Marine Corps, Tech Corps. We are a technical corporation that teaches everything from CompTIA A+, CCNA, the new CCST, and I know you're in education, so just so you know, the CCST just got accredited for 3 credits for college courses. So if you take the CCST certification, you earn, and if you do go to college afterwards, you won't have to take some courses associated, or you'll automatically have those 3 credits for that exam. We also teach AI, DS, ML. We teach introduction to cybersecurity essentials, ethical hacker. We teach Internet of Things. We teach drone technology, which is a big new, I'm getting a lot of hits for individuals, again, because drone technology is changing the shape of a lot of industries, construction, survey sites, solar panel roofings, it's just changing the game at drone technology of a lot of different spaces. You think of a construction company, you say, well, there's no space and technology for construction, but there's a lot. There's a lot of space and technology, not only for construction, there's a space and construction for AI as well, right? Predictability. So there's a lot of different areas where if you have those transferable skills, as you mentioned earlier, you can take where you were and implement where you're going at the same time for your success. Don't negate. I tell every individual who comes into tech, because you have a background, you have a life before you entered the game of technology. So I love the fact that you do the transferable skills, those soft skills. Let's talk about what makes a person who used to be a corrections officer that now got certified in cybersecurity a great fit. Don't just credit what you had in the past and eliminate and I'm going to take everything off my resume that's not tech. Are you crazy? No. Like, what are you doing? Those are transferable skills. Let me tell you how. And what you can do is, again, take AI, plug in the titles or the different roles that you had, and you can plug that into an AI model, and you can tell it the role or responsibilities that you're now going into. And that AI model can actually give you a great trajectory in doing a comparison and analysis on how, because you were this will elevate you in this. So a great AI model can actually lead you. So if you want, we can talk about that offline, and how you can have those individuals to prompt in their previous skill sets and what that looks like in their new talent skill set. But you can find us at nexgentechcorps.com. You can find all the coursework that is up there. You can register online for our courses. And you can always contact me directly at 347-829-1500. I don't care. Either I answer you or you'll get the voicemail. Either one, contact me. I don't mind. I have individuals who reach out to me just for opportunities, and they come from other training institutions, and they're finished, they're complete with their training. I'm a resource. I like to be a resource. I don't want to hold anything back from anyone who is trying to go someplace. So just because you didn't come from my institution, you want to know where the jobs are, or your institution, you're not finding success there, and you just want to know, contact me. I have no problem with giving the resources to individuals who want to be success in technology, because tech is for everyone, and it's particularly for us. I think if you don't worry about how the difficulty it is, and you align yourself with a great instructor, which again, we are great instructors, all three of us, we are great instructors, then you won't have a problem with going into tech. I tell my daughters who just graduated from one of the top 10 schools in the country, I said, when you find yourself not doing well in a class, don't necessarily check yourself, check the instructor, okay? I'm not knocking any professor or any instructor. I'm just letting you know, we all are human. We all have flaws. And just because you didn't learn what you needed to learn from them doesn't mean you're necessarily the individual who didn't do well. So there's someone else taking a part to that, okay? You're not doing well. So don't put everything on your shoulders. Just make sure you try to find. So I always offer, if you're interested, you can always come and sit in a class or two and see what that feels like for you. Identify if that's a good instructor for you. You may not like, the way they instruct. I had my daughter tell me at one point in time, my professor told me to Google it. There you go. I'm not making this up, He probably told you to Google it because he couldn't explain it himself, right? So it's really intelligent of you to try to not put all of the weight on the individual that's in front of you, but also on yourself. Did you do the work to identify if that was the correct institution for you? Not because it has a big name in front of it, or these type of sponsors. Can that individual relate to you? Can they communicate to you? Not can they deliver the black and white text, but can they actually communicate with you? So it's really important that our folks start identifying, is that the right resource for you? And if it's not the right resource, continue to seek out the right resource specifically for you, because not everything is meant for everyone.
We would definitely be reaching out.
Yes, absolutely.
Toshi, for sure.
Yeah.
That's without a doubt. I'm working with some individuals now in reference to tech, some community organization here uptown in Harlem, as well as in reference to my connection to my education where I teach. So we'll definitely be reaching out, and that's great insight. Like I mean, again, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your time, your energy for today.
I appreciate you guys too as well. I love this podcast. I love that you guys are doing the podcast.
Yes.
It's interesting because I saw this one podcast and I was like, oh man, I would love to do that. Just talk tech, right?
Yeah.
I hope you get inspired to just talk tech podcast. Something where we could talk about technology and you'll really see me glow, right? We can really talk about technologies and start making it a podcast of conversation for those who want to learn tech, right? They hear all of these words in commercials and in conversation, and they see them flash by in advertisement, and they think these things are just some big mysterious things that can't be understood by an average civilian, right? Because that's what the military calls their civilians, right? But if we put it in a space where they're comfortable in understanding it, then they identify it's not just some big mysterious thing. It's things that we use every day. There should be conversations that, again, they should be able to have and knowing what they're touching. They're touching all of these devices and just the vulnerabilities of all the individuals that are out here with these devices. That's why it took me a moment, because I don't have my microphone on my phone for nothing.
Yeah.
So my phones are completely shut down from anything automated. Like I read through all the contracts, no, deny, reject.
Wow.
But
That's
so
a
I had
class
to
in
turn it
this.
on. I had to turn it on for this meeting. But yeah, I hope to be able to deliver that space again, like-minded individuals sitting around table talking about tech, and hopefully we can do that. I can include you guys in that. So I look forward to continue the conversations with you guys, and I'm open. I'm sorry it took so long, but I'm open to your podcast, and I love what you're doing. I thank you so much for appreciating me in this space.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely, Toshi.
Yeah. And like I said, the timing is always, divine. That's how I say, timing is divine.
It
So,
is.
and it's worth
Right.
it. So, hey, like things that are worth it take time.
This
So,
surely took time, right?
Yes. Well, now we know you working. So he's like
I'm
you
always
hey,
working. But I am going to a vegan day today, in City Field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. The vegan festival. Yes.
Festival.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, fair. See, that's the nature part. That's that natural, that form. Yeah. Balance, family, balance.
Oh, no. I'm a tomahawk steak gal. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm a tomahawk steak type of girl, but I do appreciate vegans. I do appreciate what they do with what they have. And it may come a space where I may have to lead to that, and I want to make sure my vegetables taste good, right? So we'll see.
Yes.
I'm going there literally to learn. So we'll see.
Okay. Wow. It's so many dynamics. So we can talk about tech and food and all these things that it is connected to, the tethering of things, right? Like to the internet of things, right? So yeah. So family, thank you all for sharing your time with us. Please be mindful to like, share, subscribe. Like if you don't know, now you know. Contact Toshi if you have any questions. We definitely would love to have her back on eventually for sure. As it kind of say, the part twos.
Yep. We have a lot of part twos coming up.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all both. Thank you for your time. Let me get on out of here and get to my festival.
Indeed. And Kadi,
yes.
Yeah.
So all right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, peace. When we end up, I gotta change it. It's so cringe. But anyway, I'll do 3, 2, 1, and then we just put up the peace sign and say peace. Okay, so here we go. 3, 2, 1, peace.